number 1. You get to pick whatever method. So this is not like solving quadratics where you have to know every single method. You're going to get to pick whichever one you like better. It really comes down to what the question looks like. When it looks like this, which is intercept form, it's easier to do method number 2. When it's in vertex form, it's easier to do method number 1. But ultimately, it's up to you whichever one you like better. This one uses, instead of the vertex, the direction, and the width. It uses the x-intercepts, the axis of symmetry, and the vertex. To find the x-intercepts, we're going to split and solve it. To find the axis of symmetry, we're going to find the midpoint of the x-intercepts. And then we're going to use the axis of symmetry and substitute it into the equation to find the y value of the vertex. I'll explain all that as we actually go through the steps. So step number 1 is just splitting and getting the x-intercepts. So from the left, x can equal?
X can equal -3, or it can equal 1.
Agree, -3 and 1. So then the x-intercepts are -3, 0, and 1, 0. So let's plot those first.
Wait, is it just -3?
Comes from the x plus 3 binomial. So just the split and solve. What do you know about the axis of symmetry of any parabola? Middle, more specific. Middle of what?
Along the vertex.
Yes. So what do you know about the axis of symmetry and the 2 x-intercepts? Where does it have to be?
Between the 2.
Directly in the middle. So that's what we're going to do to find the axis of symmetry. We're just going to find the midpoint. How do we find the midpoint of 2 values? How do you find in between 2 values? How?
You take it and then divide.
Yeah.
Take it and divide by 2.
Yes, add them together and divide by 2. So I'm going to take -3 plus 1 and then divide by 2 to find the middle.
-1.
Offer of -1.
I accept.
So that means our axis of symmetry is x equals -1. So we know the vertex is somewhere along this line, x equal to -1. The problem is we don't know where it is. Is it really high? Is it low? Is it under the x-axis? Is it above? We don't know. So what we're going to do is to find the vertex, we're going to take this value. We're going to sub it back into the equation to find the y-coordinate. So I'm going to leave y alone. I'm just going to take out the 2 x's and put in -1. And my pen is dying, and that makes me very sad. Bedmath says we do what first? Brackets. Okay, so -1 plus 3. I heard it really quiet too. And -1 minus 1. And what do we do next? Multiply it, so 2 times -1. Confirm -4. All I'm going to do is take the axis of symmetry and take that y value and make a vertex out of it. So the vertex is -1, -4. So plotting that point, -1, -4, that gives me the 3 points to join the parabola. Don't forget your arrows. I'm just going to go back to example 1, maybe 2 for a second. And let's just look at the equation in example 2. Why would I not use the new method on this equation? It's not in intercept form. So how would I get the intercepts from this if I wanted to do method number 2? So you'd have to FOIL it out, and then factor it, or you can just solve this using square root method. It would be completely your choice. The problem with that is there's way more work than just stating the vertex, the direction, and the width. That's why we tend to use method 1 when they look like this, and we tend to use method 2 when they look like the 2 binomials together. Yeah, let's do another one. X-intercepts. What do I do when there's -2 out front? Yeah, remember when we're solving for intercepts, the other side is really equal to 0. So what can I do with this negative 2? I can get rid of it by dividing it. So in essence, it's going to disappear because the other side is 0. So in terms of our intercepts, it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with our intercepts. It's a direction and width. So jump straight to the intercepts. The first one has to be negative 2, 0. And the second one has to be 4, 0. Okay, so let's plot those first. The axis of symmetry just becomes from the middle of the two intercepts, so we're going to add them together and divide by 2. Offer of negative 1 and positive 1. Fight it out. We're going to split again. Prove it. So that's an axis of symmetry at x equal to 1. So I know it's somewhere along this x equal 1. Problem is I don't know where the y value is. How do we find the y value?
Plug it in.
So go back to the original question. Take out x, put in 1. Bedmass, what do we do first? Bless you. Where do we put that? So when it's off the graph, I'm just going to put it up here and mark 18 beside it. So that shows the person marking that you understand it's above the graph somewhere at 18. Now what? Draw it. Don't forget, arrows on both sides. Questions so far? Oh, look at this one. What's the problem? Standard form. How are we going to find the x-intercepts from standard form? Rhymes with actor. There's the offer.
Negative 4.
Here's a change to the offer.
And therefore, x-intercepts 6 and 4.
Step 2. Step 3. Bedmass. Your choice.
If we get this on a test, can we just draft it with that, or would you want us to show that work?
What do you mean with that?
Like just with the original.
Your choice. Your choice. Doesn't bother me. Don't forget. And put arrows at the end. Questions? We're back to the Mulan sheet. You've already done number 1. Want to take a guess? What's today? 2 and